Hi there everyone and welcome back. You are watching the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage YouTube channel, and today I have a machine on my work table, and it is not a machine I've seen before. This is a machine that has been brought to me by a local client. I've restored and overhauled a number of machines for them, and they found this machine and wanted me to go through it and take a look and see what we could do to overhaul it. She has not done any sewing on the machine as of yet, and it comes with a foot pedal, right? And it is, when I squeeze the foot pedal, I haven't opened it yet, we'll be doing that, but it's very smooth. I don't hear any clickety clackety sounds. That's not a scientific term. But it seems to be in decent condition. It's got its original metal supports here, and then some rubber feet. I'm willing to bet this is probably a carbon pile style foot pedal, which is great. I really like those, not just because they're quieter, but they can, not always, but they can offer smoother acceleration and speed control for your needle. Okay, so what is this? It says white. White what? It is a free arm machine, and like I say, the client just dropped it off. I'm just, like I say, looking at it for the first time. I try to imagine that some of you get machines and you're looking at it for the first time, so we'll do it together, and to hopefully it'll give you confidence to do this, because I've never seen this machine either. Although I've worked on machines for over 12 years, I've never come across this one. All right, it just says white. What can you deduce about it? Well, we have, I suspect what we're looking at here is, what are we looking at here? I'm going to say that this is, well, it tells us right here, stitch length is controlled here. This is moving. It didn't stop me. If it had, I would have stopped right there, of course. This is for feed dog control. It turns, but then it doesn't want to turn further. And even though it looks like it should, well, if yours is like that, or you have a machine, it doesn't have to be this model. Remember, don't force it. Just leave it alone. We're going to have to wake up that part of the machine, the heavy-duty part behind the little plastic knob. Here's our reverse. This is a reverse lever. And if we look over here at the feed dogs, yep, this is all, you have to hold it down, right? Now there may be a way to keep it in position. I don't know. What else do we got? We've got some system of thread guides here on the front. This would be your upper thread tension control. The little red mark is where you would line up the number. So right now it's set on 5 because, and it does turn. Right now it's set on 5 there. All right, what else can we say? There's a line here, and when you see that, right, we have a flip up. Oh, and we have, how about that? We've got some visual instructions. What have we got here? It says left, middle, right. That has to do with needle position, and that, of course, we're going to come back to that. This is, I suspect, this is kind of odd, interesting, to control zigzag. There's something going on with zigzag control up here. And then, of course, we have a stitch selector. Now, notice that this is a plastic knob. I don't know what's underneath this. Remember, with some of the Kenmores, once Kenmore production that had been in Japan moved to Taiwan, they were still great machines, but they were starting to compromise in certain areas like plastic gears for selectors anyway. So what do we got here? These look like specialty, I think these are referred to sometimes as utility stitches. I guess you could call them maybe decorative in some ways, but not all of them. Here's a multi-point zigzag. Here's a blind stitch, and we have some other stitches here. I think I see rickrack. So again, these are stitch options. And what else do we have? We have the thread path is shown to us. That's nice. We've got how to do this setting. Now this setting would be, of course, stitch length, I believe. And then up here, it tells you have left, middle, and right. And within that, you also have an option on this upper knob for buttonholes. So it's not set there right now. Right now, this is, well, that's interesting. Okay. All right. And what else do we have here? It's telling us how to, these are the options for these utility stitches. And then this, of course, is buttonhole and zigzag. So we got different things going on here. Okay. Remember, as this machine is circa, I want to say 70s. I don't know exactly when and how, but 1970s. Now, here again are the these are the options I was referring to on the for the buttonholer. And oh, okay, I didn't see that at first. It was hiding. This must be our, I'm guessing this is our stitch width, but we'll have to see. Hopefully that is stitch width. What else? We have, let's kind of, we're going to bring, well, before I move the camera downward, let's come back out and let's look over here. And what do we have? We should have a side door, and it is, there we go. It swings open. We have a light bulb. I don't see any cover on the light bulb, and it may have just been designed that way. And what we see here is what we would normally see. We're going to have a presser bar and a needle bar here, and you can see it, the needle bar moving down. What else do we have? We got something here. I don't know what this is telling us. What has this got to say? It's a diagram, a pictogram of some sort. 0 plus plus plus. So I'm going to have to investigate, see if I can find a manual. So some of you may have seen sewing machines before, and they come as free arms, right, or a convertible machine like this one, and usually, there would be a sewing deck. So maybe this one is just missing the sewing deck. Let's come around here, and we'll come to the side, see what we see. All right, I don't yet know what's going to be going on inside the machine yet. We're going to take a look, but right now, yeah, I can already tell the clutch washer knob and the hand wheel are plastic. And again, I'm going to categorize this machine. I'm just guessing it's maybe, I don't know, somewhere in the 70s or so. It could be late 60s, somewhere in the 70s. And so we know that the manufacturers are starting to reduce, they're under such pressure to reduce costs. People say, I don't want to pay more. And, well, before I forget, let's take a look at the plug. You see the plug here on the side. And here's the end from the speed controller. And it has there's three openings in the plug, and there's 3 prongs down here. Now, it looks sort of similar to what you see on 1970s Kenmores, but remember, the Kenmores, you have two slots here, and then there's a bit of a, 2 of them are together, and then there's a longer space for the third. So they're not symmetrical in terms of their spacing. So even now in the 70s, White and Kenmore are still, they got different standards here, although you will notice that any White machine that was in a table, many of those machines, let's get this out of our way so we don't drop it. Many of those machines were sized to fit into Singer tables. I don't know for how long, but they were at one point. We have a bobbin winder here. Up top, that's pretty common by this point. And this little, if you've ever seen these little usually they're little protrusions near the bobbin winder, that is to help you. It basically limits how much thread will get on the bobbin, so you don't end up with a bobbin that's overwound with too much thread. Okay. Let's see, what do we have on the back? Well, this is a nice thing. We still have metal thread spools and thread spool holder. Many of these machines had gone to plastic. This is still metal. Again, you know, we're seeing a variety of things. And here, well, look, there we go, guys. There's our model number. It is called model number 510, model 510. And what am I seeing here? Okay. This gives me a model number, serial number, which really, oh, and 1.3 amp. Now that's surprising. White was, at least for some machines like this one, was still specifying 1.3 amps. That would eventually go away because that's a pretty strong motor in terms of amperage. And again, we see the White name on the back, and you know, we just see the name White. We don't see, you know, some fancy name or a number, although we do have it on that plate that I just showed you. And what do we have here? Let's turn around. Let me zoom back out. And it says flap open. Flap open. What is that? F, and then I don't know what that means. B. Oh, F, maybe front back. I don't know if those letters are showing up for you guys unless I zoom back in here. Yeah, it says B. Is that what it is? Yeah, B and F. Maybe back, front. I'm guessing at this. But it says flap. So if I want to, it says there's an arrow here. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to turn it. Okay. Now let's turn the back one. Look at that. Did you see this? Look at this. So, okay. Now, all right. Let's see what's underneath here. Because I don't know if it's broken or, hold on. What do we got? All right. There's the little knob's not doing anything else. So there's a metal piece here, which is sometimes you see hardware on any convertible machine, and this, but when I opened this, I don't know if you guys saw, but this just flopped out. Oh, okay. Well, you know, this reminds me of the James Webb Telescope. If any of you have ever seen these giant, you know, aeronautical telescopes that they put in outer space, and then they have to open up all of their solar panels. That's what it reminds me of. Well, how about that? If you get a machine like this and you think it's missing its sewing deck, because remember, a convertible machine is a machine that you can either have a flat sewing deck surface, or it can convert to a free arm, and this one does. You know, I don't know if any of you have ever seen the convertible top of a car open, you know, because many of them are powered, and they press a button and the convertible top comes off. That's what this reminds me of. Well, how clever. Who knew? You know, you kind of wonder sometimes, by the time you get to the 70s, you know, are they still innovating? And apparently this was one of their innovations. Okay. All right. So let's see what we can. Let's see what we can see by, well, first of all, I got to figure out how to get into this machine, and if I can get into this machine, because what do I look for? What do you look for when you've got a machine? You're like, well, how am I going to access to inspect and to clean if cleaning is needed, and to obviously to lubricate the machine? Because I see one red dot, one red marked hole here, but all of you, I mean, I don't know how much metal is in this machine, but if there's just metal here, then yes, that's where you would put oil. But if there's more metal, we got to get into it. So what can we say? All right, I see one, two. No, these two screws are for the hinge for the lid. So I don't know that those come out. I see there's one here, and then there's two here. So let's try that. Get my trusty screwdriver. What are we going to do? We'll start over here. Come here. It's not particularly tight. Didn't take much turning. Get this one here. And this one as well. Okay, this, I'm guessing at this, based on the sound, I think we're dealing with aluminum. It could be plastic, but I believe it's aluminum. Make sure we don't lose our screws here. New machine, new toys. New toy for me, never seen one. All right, now, there are machines that I've shown before. Sometimes the lid on a machine will crank back. Well, this lid here did, but the lid that covers the mechanicals, sometimes they crank backwards. Sometimes they just come straight up, and then sometimes you have to shift them. And I've shown on Neckies, and I think I've shown on a recent white machine where sometimes you have to do both. You have to lift and then slide. But this here, there's a big piece of steel here. I don't think we're going to be sliding anywhere. Oh, well, that was nice. Keep in mind, if you have a sewing machine, obviously not this one because I just lifted up the lid here. If you have a machine and your machine, if you start to lift and it tugs and it doesn't want to let go, be careful. It could be that you just need to wiggle it, or it could also be it's got something mechanical attached to it, which brings in a whole nother question about, well, how do you get access to it? All right. Well, I just answered that guess I had. Yeah, the top is aluminum. Wow. Okay, we have an aluminum top in the 70s. How about that? And yeah, even the little cap is aluminum. That's impressive, just because we're in the 70s. So you have to lower your expectations for what I call heirloom quality machines. Now I'm going to put these 3 screws that held this down. I think I'm just going to set them right there. They belong with that part. Okay. All right, let's see what we have. I'm going to pull the machine toward us so we can get more of a bird's eye view here. And what are we looking at? Okay. Well, you all probably know, if you know my channel and you know what I'm looking to see, okay, what is metal and what's not? Oh, I see lots of steel. This is, oh, look at this. You guys see this? These are cams. These are built-in cams. Hold on. Where are you, trusty magnet? I got to do my magnet test. It would be unusual for cams to be made out of aluminum, because sometimes you can touch aluminum with a magnet and it won't do anything because there's no ferrous metal in aluminum. Oh yeah, that stuck right away. Okay, yeah, aluminum is a little too soft for something like a cam. So they're steel cams. That is impressive because, of course, the Kenmores from the 70s, for a while anyway, they still had metal cams. Now, I was showing concern earlier about this plastic knob. Not so much because it's a knob, but I wanted to make sure that, let's come down. We'll get right in front of it horizontally. Well, everything I see under it is made of metal, right? So this again is probably, just like knobs on the fronts of many machines, the knob is plastic, but again, it's attached to metal, and as long as that metal is able to move, your plastic knob should be fine. I don't want to over, state the issue with plastic to make any of you afraid to touch the plastic components. Let's see what's going on over here. Okay, I need something to point with. All right, what have we got? We have, here's our bobbin winder tire, which looks, wow, that thing's in incredibly good shape. This machine was stored indoors, and even indoors it's in pretty good shape. Now look at this. I see metal here. This is going to be aluminum, and this of course is our bobbin winder. But look, the hub is no longer metal, it's plastic. Okay, so that was a money-saving thing. Now, normally, I'm going to try to access the motor belt and the motor, which I think we're going to find that probably down below, because by the time in the 70s, a lot of the machines are putting their motors underneath the machine, or if they're in the back, they're covered. But there's something going on here. Let's see what we've got. Oh. Now when I turn the hand wheel, you guys see what's moving? Do you see this here? This has sort of got little slots. Oh. Let's just be extra sure. I've got decent light in here, but I want to make sure. Okay, you guys see that? Yeah, that's a belt. Now that is, I don't believe that's the motor belt. That would be very strange, because motor belts, even in this era, are still, by the 70s, are, you know, they haven't really changed the width, but this, now it's got lugged, you know, it looks like it has some sort of lugging. The only time I've really seen this, of course, is on some of the FOFs, which have timing belts, and this could be a timing belt. But look, and it's very clean. The machine itself is, wow, it's really clean. Lots of metal, lots of steel. So far, I'm really liking what I see. I wanna learn a little bit more about that. Now, while we're here, let's just look. If you have a machine like this, you know, unplugged, of course, turn the hand wheel. If you have your machine is threaded, take the thread out, because you're going to create a mess while you're doing that. And I'm looking at this belt. I've got a flashlight, and I don't see any tears. I don't see any cracks. That's really important. I see Asian style writing, and anything else that it says it's got a number, which I don't know what that means. It says Synchro Star. I don't know what that means. Synchro Star. I have no idea what Synchro Star is. Someone in the 70s would have known. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, I think we have, guys. I just don't think that's the motor belt. I'm going to say that's probably a timing belt. Now, let's go down to the side, and we're gonna, first of all, turn the machine toward us to the side, and let's come back down. And we're gonna, I'm lowering the camera here because I want you to see closer in to the side. Now, we have a side panel, right? And I see screws here. But the side panel would be very important if we need to change our motor belt. When I haven't even seen the motor yet, so let's try that. But there's a separate panel with screws here. So let's see what's behind that. Screws are being very cooperative. Again, this is very likely, this machine was not stored in an attic, because that old oil on these screws would have acted like glue. It can happen regardless of where your machine's stored, but it's nice. Whoops, be careful, because it wants to come right out. Okay, we're going to set this down. Don't lose our screws. All right. Okay, let's see what we've got here. See, turn it toward the natural light. See if that'll give us what we need. Okay. So what am I seeing here? I see I'll lower this just a bit more for you guys. Now, this of course is our motor pulley for the motor belt. And the belt, okay, this belt is very likely not original. It looks like it's been replaced. It's not brand new. It has a little bit of that sort of charcoal dust color that you sometimes see on belts, but I don't see any cracks. Now, just to be sure, get behind it here. Shift the camera angle, you can see what I'm looking at. So you don't have to take the belt off to inspect it. Remember, the belt is under tension, so if it has any cracks, they should show up, and I'm not seeing any. That's a good thing. And let's see. Oh, no, wait a minute. I want my natural light again. Okay. All right. I see our motor. And look right here. That's nice to see what we have. And by the way, if you have anything, be careful when you push in. Make sure, again, you're unplugged. But this looks to me like a place where you'd put a drop of oil, and there's a little pad in there, a little wicking pad. That's nice. Okay, when I push, whoops, come here. When I push here, and again, this is just me pushing in about 1/4 inch. Again, I don't know if the tension needs changing. The machine will speak to us when it sews a stitch, if it needs to be tightened or loosened. So, now, what I want to know, well, the first thing I would say is, given how far down the motor is mounted, I don't know the exact specs, but I'm willing to say this is a very long motor belt. They are available, they should be, but this is not one of those little short belts, because remember, it's got to go all the way up, you know, all the way up and around the hand wheel. So, but about this here, now notice when I turn the hand wheel, you can see the motor belt turning, but this belt here is turning too. Now, in the Kenmores, they had, and they got this idea from Bernina, I believe, those machines have, let's come back up for just a moment, I want to show you. If you've seen my videos on the Kenmores from the 1970s, I'm referring to the 158 1941 is the most common machine you've seen on my channel from that era, and you know how much I love those machines. Those machines have their hand wheel, and then they have a pulley in the sort of around here inside. And on that pulley, you basically have two belts for the motor. You have a belt from the hand wheel to this intermediate pulley, I think sometimes called a reduction pulley. And then you have a separate, of the same size, you have a separate pulley that, I believe it's the same size, and then it connects, the second belt goes from that pulley down to the motor pulley. That's a big word salad to basically say it uses two belts and multiple pulleys. But this is not connected to this right here. Okay. Well, I honestly, other than the FOF machines, I have not seen this before now. Again, some of the German FOFs, they chose to handle the timing with a timing belt. They work great unless the belt fails, because the belts are extremely hard to find. All right. Come here, flashlight. Let's take a look again. So, now I'm going to carefully just push against it. I don't really know what it's, but you can see it is a lugged belt, right? Just like the motor belt, but it's wider, and this if you want to call this a pulley, it's very large and wide, and it has motor pulleys for most sewing machines don't have this, right? They just have a smooth groove in the little pulley there on the motor, like we're used to seeing. But this has to be, yeah, guys, I really think this is a timing belt. Now, let's look on it. Let's take another look at this timing belt. And we'll see, let's give a little zoom here if I can, please, for my viewers. Now I'm going to put the flashlight there, and I'm going to turn it. I've already done this on the other side, you know, on the top of the machine. And I'm just checking for cracks or tears or shredding. it appears to look okay. Now, why is this so crucial? You might say, well, if it's bad, you can just replace it. Well, I don't know. There's an old saying, if it's made out of unobtainium, it may not be something that we can get a replacement for. Remember, of all the brands of sewing machines, vintage, that you can get replacement parts for, either vintage parts, new old stock, or reproduction, Singer is your number one option, followed by Kenmore, depending on the era and the decade. Because it is just because they sold so many machines. They were like the Chevrolet and the Toyotas of the sewing world. They were just everywhere. I mean, they were such big volume sellers. And so, yeah, I'm beginning to think that the motor belt that you see here, I'm not concerned at all about getting a replacement. In fact, this is a replacement. This, don't know. So, as I've mentioned before, I think I've mentioned before, with FOF vintage machines that use timing belts, and this one apparently does as well. It's the first Japanese machine I've seen with a timing belt. Be extra careful with these belts. Do not store your machine in an attic. In fact, just store it, in any place inside your home that is climate control comfort. But the other thing to remember is, and we'll do this when we start looking to lubricate the machine. One of the things you can do if your timing belt's in good shape and it's happy, it's old but it's happy, you want to make sure that you do not get any oil, grease, I don't care, synthetic, well, it doesn't matter the brand, don't get any lubricants of any kind on the motor. Rubber, plastics can be vulnerable to this, and rubber especially. It does not appreciate any kind of petroleum product. And yes, sewing machine oil is a petroleum product. It's highly refined, yes. Let's just not do that, okay? You and your machine will be much happier. Okay, well, guys, that is my initial investigation into a machine I've never seen, ever. And I'm kind of enthralled by it, just partly because I've never seen it, right? And this thing is funny. So I'm going to go online, see if I can find a manual for this thing. And we'll see what it has to say. Remember, a manual is a very useful thing. Now, many of my viewers, for example, you have manuals to machines, but you come onto YouTube looking for more information because some manuals are helpful, some are less so, some are kind of cryptic and hard to understand, and the visuals are not normally all that great, especially as you go back in time. Our ancestors had to figure a lot of things out, and I think my ancestors were smarter than me, honest to God. But anyway, this is me going through a machine I've never seen. For many of you who are just getting into vintage sewing machines, maybe you've got a machine and you've never seen it either. This is one of the ways I approach a new machine. Carefully, right? So, I turn this knob because it turns freely, doesn't seem to mind. It's not giving me any pushback whatsoever. This one, it's also moving fine. This knob here, this inner knob, it's set to, well, actually, right now it's set on left homing. In fact, I think that's what that is. Now, because this is very stiff, nope, I'm not turning that because something's got to be woken up. Do not forcefully jolt your machine out of bed if it's been sleeping for a long time. So I don't know, this knob could have been left there in 1970 whatever and never moved, and that can be a problem. So I don't despair. There is a method for unlocking it, but forcing it, I wouldn't do that if I were you. No. All right, what else do we have to, did we look at everything? Well, this is interesting. Look at my needle plate. I don't see, how do you get the needle plate out of this puppy? Interesting. I don't see any bolts to how to remove it. Well, we'll have to discover how do we get to our feed dogs to clean them if we can't get in there. Hey, all right. Oh, before I forget, let's not forget, we have a bobbin case. And I think I see a class 15 bobbin case, pretty common, right? And if I turn, oh, look at this. Oh, that's interesting. You know something? I very often, and I've often talked in my videos about rotary hooks, shuttle hooks, versus oscillating. Most of the time when you have a class, well, I'd say that. No, see? I got ahead of myself. That's not a class 15 bobbin. I'm not sure what class this is. I gotta investigate that. Thankfully it has one. It'd be something if you got this and didn't know what bobbin it took. How about that? Well, the reason I wondered, the reason I was a bit confused was that I thought I was looking at a class 15 bobbin case. Every class 15 bobbin taking machine that I've ever seen is an oscillating hook, right? It goes this way and this way. This one is rotary because it spins 360 degrees. Oh, look at there. I see something. Uh-oh. Did you guys see that? There's a piece of thread hanging here. Now, we'll deal with that. We'll deal with that in a different video. Again, these are things that you may commonly see in a vintage sewing machine. And so I thought, let me make this video, share with all of you what it's like when I see a machine for the first time. And if you're not as intuitive, maybe you've never seen a machine until the first, you're doing it for the very first time, then watching me do this hopefully will give you confidence that you can do it, right? Yes, I've seen lots of sewing machines, but I've never seen this one. And I'm very fascinated by it. Very interesting. So there will be more to come on this white Model 510. In fact, with the lid off, you don't even know it's a white. But it does have that on the front there, white something. But again, it is this sort of, I think it was just, made in white. You see a lot of white or cream colored machines by the time we get to the 70s. So if you're interested, follow along, and if you have this machine, let me know. Let me know what you think. Oh, look at this, guys. I see more access screws. Oh, okay. Now, if you get a machine and you say, hey, I can't get my needle plate off, because you heard me, I was like, what am I going to do? But I see screws here. So maybe that means that we can remove the top of the free arm, which I wonder if maybe the plate is attached to it. Maybe that's how you get there, right? Just a theory, guys. We're gonna check it out. Don't be afraid to have a theory. You go forward with intention. Be cautious. Don't go crazy. I have not plugged this machine in and tried to sew with it. No, I need to know. Make sure it's okay. Make sure it's ready to go. And right now we know we got this thing to. Who knows what else we need to wake up on this machine, but I am looking forward to it. And I hope you're looking forward to it. If you have not, consider supporting my channel and efforts to rescue more of these machines and save them from oblivion in the landfill. You can choose on any of my videos or the home page and just click on Buy Me a Coffee. It takes you to my own very page, and you can donate to whatever level your heart desires. And I will see you in the next video, where I hope to learn even more about this machine that has a flying convertible bed. How about that? Well, you just never know, right? There's a first time for everything. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.